President Trump said he's going to stop funding to the WHO. Not the band, the World Health Organization. I was excited to hear this, by the way, because I've always struggled with why we support these international organizations, and most of them hate us. So I want to remind you who these are. I want to tell you who their directors are. That's important to get their vision, where they want to lead the organization. I want to tell you how many countries are a part of these organizations and how much we contribute of taxpayer dollars to each one. So let's start with the WHO. It's a part of the UN, which is 193 countries. You've seen Tedros Adhanom. He's the guy from Ethiopia that is the director of the WHO, the lover of all things China. And by the way, he's from Ethiopia. Used to be the Minister of Health. That's a real powerhouse country to lead an organization. Plus, they're more of a socialist country than free. It's an authoritarian government. I mean, come on, dudes. And by the way, we pay 1/4 of their budget. And even crazier, I didn't know this till I looked at this, the second biggest giver to the WHO is not among the other countries. It's from a private American rich guy. The Bill Gates Foundation is the second biggest giver, and he's paying 15% of their budget. And by the way, the Chinese loving folks, China donated $76 million to the WHO last year. Bill Gates, his foundation, $531 million. Take that, you rich-hating, progressive, democratic, liberal, whatever you want to call yourself, and suck on that for a while. Well, we've mentioned the UN. Let's go there. Their director is a guy by the name of Antonio Gutierrez, a socialist from Portugal, another world powerhouse country. 193 countries, as I mentioned. How much do we pay of their bill? 1/4. Unbelievable. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, headed by Kristalina Georgieva from Bulgaria. She's probably not a true socialist. She'd be to the right just a little bit. 187 countries are a part of this. How much of their budget do we pay? Yep. 25%. Just incredible. Then we come to NATO. 29 countries. And, we paid 25% until Donald Trump came into power. Now we're down to about 16%, so at least we're making progress. Problem for me is NATO needs to shut their doors. Shut it down completely. The whole purpose of NATO was to stop, after World War II, the aggression of Russia into Europe. Number one, there's no more threat of that. But number two, the one time they did it, even against a NATO member, NATO completely failed. So shut that thing down. Then we have the WTO, the World Trade Organization. 164 countries are part of this, led by Roberto Azevedo from Brazil. He calls himself independent. I don't think he's a socialist because at the beginning of this organization, one of the purposes was to help socialist communist countries transition to free markets. Amazingly, we only pay 12% of their budget, even though there's that many countries. And finally, we have the G20, 19 countries plus the EU, led by King Salman from Saudi Arabia. King, prime minister, a theocratic nut. And again, I don't know why we support this. Regardless, and I also don't know what the difference is between the G20 and the WTO. They're both about trade. But I'll close my podcast with this. Trump just agreed with the G20 to donate $5 trillion to the world to fight coronavirus. And guess who gets the money? The WHO!